right. Let's see, let me click this. Got it. Thank you all so much for being here today. We know that you are all super busy, so we really appreciate it. My name is Lee Ramey, and I'm the new Youth Services Consultant at the South Carolina State Library. I've been meeting you all over the past couple of weeks through email, so it's nice to see some faces to put with names. I mentioned earlier, I know that some of you are on the desk, but if you're able to turn on your video, that would be awesome. But also, if you're not able to do that, I understand. So today, actually, let's go ahead and let Leah introduce herself first before I move on.
Hi, everybody. Some of you I've met before. I'm Leah Cannon. I'm the State Data Coordinator. I'm currently overseeing the survey, the annual survey. Some of you may have interacted with me on that. And if not, that's who I am. I will be, this morning, I will be helping Lee out with the morning sessions. And then later, for those of you who will be here this afternoon, I will be presenting some of the summer reading statistics. So I will turn it back over to Lee now.
So before we move on, I know a lot of you are on the listserv and you voted in the poll that I put up Friday. So I just wanted to share the results really quick. I know you've been anxiously waiting to know everybody's favorite Halloween candy. And then in the young adult group, I put or asked everybody your favorite Halloween movie. So the candy winner goes to, this is going to make some people mad, candy corn. Yay! I love candy corn, but I feel like most of my friends hate it. And then for favorite scary movie, it was actually a tie between The Shining, which is my favorite, and Get Out, a newer classic. All right, so our agenda for today, like Leah said, we have 2 sessions. When we were trying to put this together, we realized that one session might be too long for a Zoom meeting, and we knew that you all have probably missed getting together and sharing ideas in person. So even though we are not in person, we still want to give you a chance to share ideas with each other, because I know that's really helpful for me, so hopefully for you as well. So we will have 2 breakout sessions today. We've kind of titled this Tricks and Treats. So we're going to talk about the good and the bad from this past summer. We'll also talk about share some performer information, if there's any tips that you have with working with certain performers, people you'd like to recommend. And then we'll just do a preview of next summer for those of you who are part of the CSLP and use those materials. We'll talk about that. So we're going to start with our tricks. So we're going to start with the bad. So we'll end on a high note. So we want to know what didn't go well for you this summer. What will you change for next year? What lessons did you learn? So this is going to be our first breakout room. And we've got to decide, got to see how many people we have here, Leah, and decide how many rooms we want to do. But we're going to give you 20 minutes for you all to chat with each other, because we know sometimes it's easier to do that in a smaller group. And then we'll come out together and share some highlights. So let's see. Let me go to breakout rooms and figure out. And then Lee and I are just going to be kind of popping in and out of the rooms. So let's do 5 rooms, Leah. Does that sound good with you?
Yeah, that works out really well.
Okay, so we're just going to automatically assign those. You can go ahead and join when you get that. And then again, we'll have 20 minutes in that room. And Lee and I will be in there. So let us know if you have questions. Any questions before we put you in breakout rooms? I know some of you are working on the desk and doing multiple things. So if you need to just listen and not participate, that's okay. Hopefully there's somebody in your group that can do the talking. I'm looking to see if there's any hands or anything raised.
And
Okay, so
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
did we
I
hear
will,
something?
I will try to go to the rooms and drop the questions in. So feel free to write them down, but otherwise, yeah, we'll drop them in for you.
yeah. All right. And Leah just got an email. Somebody can't get into she can't find the link. So let me share this with her.
Oh, the Zoom link.
Okay. I think this is the right one. Okay.
I'm gonna pop into the rooms and drop the questions in.
Okay.
So I'll be back very shortly.
All right. I guess I'll just stay here since we have a couple here in case they come back.
Okay.
If they stepped away.
Yeah, it won't
Okay.
be too long. Actually, I'll do the broadcast message. How about that? That'll work.
Yeah, yeah. That works.
Oh, heck. That did not work.
What?
It just sent the first question. I tried to do a,
I know that part's always tricky.
that's okay. I'll be back shortly.
Okay.
Real quick. Is there anybody like in a waiting room? Is that what they're having trouble with, or?
I think there's just 3 not joined. So they must have just stepped away from the computer.
Okay. I'll be back.
If you just unmute yourself, then I think you should be able to chat in our room, but I can go ahead and get started. I know some of you, but for those of you that don't know me, I'm Stacy Locascio. I'm the Youth Services Librarian at Chapin Memorial Library in Myrtle Beach. We're a standalone library, so we're a city municipality library, and we only have one branch. Everything's in-house, our director's in-house, so we like it. We have a lot of freedom, but that means it's all up to us to implement the ideas and what goes well and what doesn't go well. So this summer we decided to do things a little bit differently than we had. Oh, there's more questions. Okay. And we decided to switch gears and it was the first year we did like a postcard, an activity postcard. I don't remember which library actually gave us the idea on the last wrap up or before we started summer with Rebecca, but it was a game board and we mailed some out to local city residents. We had them handed out the circulation desk. We gave them to schools, and we handed out and we printed about 10,000 cards because we used the LSTA grant and we had a lot of budget for printing that we wanted to use up. And we actually only received,
because they didn't have to do nearly as much like detailed stuff behind the desk. I was just like, just take the reading log.
Any story time or program fails this summer?
I didn't have one this summer that was a fail, but I had one that was recently a fail I could share.
Sure.
So I had a lot of parents that said that they were interested in doing some type of like physical activity kind of program. So I tried doing a yoga / Zumba on Saturday mornings for like the younger moms and stuff like that, because they seemed really interested in it. And no. So people want to do physical activity, but then when you actually put it out there, it's like, nah, never mind, I'm good. I'd rather sleep in today.
We did the Zumba too, and same thing. They came for the first and second, and then and we did it late in the day, so the parents can come with the kids, but it didn't last long.
I noticed in the second session this afternoon, we were gonna just mention some trends from this summer that we noticed. I saw a lot of yoga story times. So I don't know if they went well. Hopefully they did. I used to do yoga story times and those were pretty fun. And I know sometimes people have done yoga with kittens or puppies. Of course, you've probably seen the goat story time. Caitlin says virtual escape rooms were a flop. That was another thing I saw, a lot of virtual escape rooms this summer. Let's see what else. What else didn't go well? Or what else would you like to vent about right now?
The only program I had over the summer that didn't really pan out was I took a suggestion from the CSLP manual and was going to try like animal themed Jeopardy and for teens. And we didn't end up having the program because we only had like maybe 2 people signed up, and it was like in the same household, and so it wasn't really going to do anything. We did a whole bunch of in-person, like I had to learn how to use Eventbrite for the summer because we had made people sign up for basically everything. So it wasn't like it didn't feel that bad because I didn't have to like limp through the program because I just canceled it ahead of time. But that was the only one that really just didn't do.
Yeah, that's a shame. That sounds really fun. Any kind of game show, I think, would be really fun.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea, but
Anybody else want to share?
We were going to do Disney trivia on a Saturday because we dabbled with some virtual Saturday programming this summer, and it was the weekend of 4th of July, so nobody showed up, which we were kind of expecting, but still, it's kind of a bummer. But that just meant that we didn't do the program, and it's saved for another time.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I'm looking at the comments. Let's see. Someone tried a murder mysteries program with the teens and it didn't work, which that's another thing that I think would be really fun. I guess you do have to be into it, like really into it. Like you have to commit to it if you're gonna participate in that, right? Let me look and see some other questions to ask. So since we're still talking about negative stuff, I feel bad even asking this, but we'll talk about the positive too. Did you get any negative feedback from other coworkers and other departments about programs or patrons, parents, caregivers? I'm sure parents, they were probably tired of virtual too.
We had a lot of parents ask about programming, but we were like, no, it's all online. And they were a little disappointed in that because we were open to the public, but yet our meeting room was going under some renovations, but we still weren't doing any group stuff. So they were like, but what I did is I typed up like a thing, like the art gallery was doing their thing. 1 or 2 places were open for kids during summer, and I just typed up something because a lot of grandmas will come in and say, what do y'all have? I got these kids all summer. We got to find something to do. So I would give them this reference list. I was like, oh, call this number. Or like our dance companies and things had a summer thing going. I said, here you go. I was like, well, if I can't have one for you here, I'm a library. I can give you information. So I gave them a little slip that told them where things were going on in town. So they'd at least have that.
Yeah, I would think a big part of this summer would be, a big part of the frustration would be dealing with caregivers who are And you could probably, there's probably people that are arguing, you know, both sides. So if you are doing programming inside, there's probably people complaining about that, and then people complaining that you aren't. Anybody else want to share about that?
We had a problem with, we did not do in-house programming, but the county next door did. So the parents couldn't understand why we weren't doing in-house programming when the county did in-house programming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tricky. So looking at the comments, there was some miscommunication this summer, looks like. Somebody complained that the zoo didn't bring any fuzzy animals. Was that me? I feel like, just kidding. I know I always want the fuzzy animals too, but those are harder to transport or they can't. Working with COVID protocols for outside programming was challenging. Yep. Does anybody want to elaborate on that, on the COVID protocols for outdoor programming? Yeah, that was close.
So I'm the one that put that in. It was just, you know, working with registration, knowing that we still do not have in-house programming at Richland Library. So we do outside programming, so outside story time, and making sure that you're registering, because story times could create a lot of people coming in normally. And so just trying to make sure that everyone's on the same page and you offer enough offerings so that if one is filled, there's another one. So just trying to get our rhythm in how best to handle what's taking place. I'm sure everyone else felt the same thing. What is that rhythm, trying to work with people that are really interested in coming to your locations?
Yeah.
Yeah, with registrations is really, really important, especially when you have to, you know, have separation and all that.
Yeah, we did
very different.
registrations online. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, it's a very different experience for all of our customers and patrons to register for like a story time and those types of things.
Yeah, we made people register for story time too, which we had never done before. And I felt bad even making people do it. So it's just for summer, but I just really need to make sure that we don't have 50 people show up for a story time. One of the things we started struggling with was people would register for something and then not show up. And it would be sometimes the same people over and over again. And I haven't done anything majorly about it yet, but we did keep track of it. And I've wondered, has anybody ever, like, if you see a repeat offender on that, do you like pull the plug on them and say, I'm sorry, you can't keep registering for this stuff, or we've canceled your registration? Has anybody ever done anything to deal with that situation?
Well, we started doing here when we started doing programs in person is that on the registration page, we have their phone number and the email. So we make, I have made phone calls the day before to remind them of the day off, what the program is going to be like, and still have people that, oh, I forgot. So then we decided to forget about calling the day before and call the morning off. Like, for example, we have a program today, Sharks versus Dolphins. I call in the morning and remind everybody, okay, today is the program, we'll see you later. So far, that has increased the number of people participating that have signed in.
Okay.
One thing we were worried about, registration, just that we would have so many people that didn't show up, even if we did call. And then, you know, what do we do if people come and they didn't register? It was sort of like, it was really hard for us to decide, but we went without registration, and luckily we never did hit, our numbers never went over, thankfully. But yeah, we were just kind of wondering about registration as well. Just, there's good things and bad if they don't show up. So thank you, Darcy and Sylvana.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Darcy, that's a really good question. And Jennifer and Anderson put in the chat, repeat offenders get put on the waiting list. I know, I like that, repeat offenders. One library I worked at, I don't think we did it with individual families, but if we had CDC daycare groups that did that, because we had a big problem with that at one time. We would let them know that if, you know, they kept doing it, we wouldn't be able to serve them. It sounds so harsh when you say it out loud, but it's also necessary if you have other people waiting for that service. Let's see, anything that requires you to purchase food or supplies for crafts should have registration and a cutoff date so that you can plan purchasing. Yeah. I think whatever you do, so if they're not used to registration, it's going to take them time to adjust. But then if the opposite is true as well, if they're used to registering and then you change it all of a sudden, that's going to be confusing too. So I think people will get used to whatever you do. I think it's confusing for them if they, I don't know how your counties are, if they're close to other systems, but I know when I lived in Colorado, there were a lot of systems in the Denver metro area. So a lot of people would go to 2 to 3 different libraries, and then that would be confusing because they'd get the schedules all mixed up and the policies. Just looking at the chat too.
Beth, you have your hand up. Do you have a comment?
Oh, you're on mute.
You're still muted.
Oh, no, okay.
Just checking.
So we have a couple more minutes before we're going to take a break. Anything else that you want to share? When we come back from the break, we're going to be all positive, happy, sunshine. So get it out now. I guess this is a good thing that we don't have more things to complain about at the moment. See, Catherine said one of the places she did a program at this summer had a fire. All right, so we are gonna take a 10-minute break. And then when we come back, we'll go into new breakout rooms. Yes. All right, so it looks like most of us are back. So we're gonna start our next breakout room. So this is the treats. Leah, do we have that slide? Oh, you're muted. So yeah, what are some of your success stories for the summer? What programs went over really well? Did you have any pleasant surprises? Maybe there was something that you weren't sure about that you thought could be a flop, but it turned out to be a big hit. Anything that you find that you did differently that you'll repeat for next summer? So those are just some of the questions. If you want to talk about specific programs that went over well, that's great too. So we'll go ahead and put you into new, let's see. Yeah, we're gonna just do new chat rooms just to give you a chance to meet new folks. So let's see. I hit recreate. I'm just making sure that it actually mixed them up. Trying to remember. Okay. All right. So we'll be here for another 20 minutes. And then Lee and I will come in and see you all as well. All right, let me just move that around. Looks like I think we're all back. Heard some great things in the discussion from a couple of groups that I was in. Who would like to start sharing some highlights from the summer? Or is there something you heard in your group that you would like to share from another library system?
So one of the things that seemed to be very interesting that a lot of people had going on this summer was carry out kits or take home a craft or something to that effect. And it seemed that most libraries tended to do that and found that very popular with their customers.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to put in the chat actually what you called them, because I know a lot of people had different names. Take and make, Storytime Grab and Go. What else? Pick me ups. Oh, that's cute. I haven't heard that one before. Carry out kits. Literacy kits, take and make. And I'm wondering too, because these kits have been so popular everywhere that's doing them, I think. Is this something you think you'll continue to offer, or do you think you'll be stopping it sometime soon? Anybody want to share thoughts about that?
We still have people that like to get the bags. So we're still putting them out for when we have a specific program. But I guess while they're still picking them up, we're still making some.
Okay.
I made the literacy kits this summer because a lot of parents were coming in because their child's behind in reading because of COVID and things like that. And so I'm a teacher from the school district here. So I was like, okay, I've got to make these parents something they can use. So the literacy kits, we don't have any other kits besides like a cassette with a book, still have cassettes. And some of our other books that we have on CD doesn't even come with the book. So I was like, you know what, we don't have any kind of kits of any sort. So I think they'll like that idea, and it's gone over really well. I was telling someone, I was like, we can't even keep the kindergarten kits in. That's been the most popular one. I never see them on the shelf. They go straight to circulation and then they're sent to somebody else that's already requested. So in Oconee County, Darcy was the one who helped me get those together, because I was looking online for literacy kits and saw that they had them, and I got some information from her. So they were a big help because I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So, but now I'm going to make some more kindergarten kits so we can get some more parents are asking. So it's been a real plus.
Yeah, I'm writing down some of the names that you all have.
Those products can be used also for ESL. If you have ESL tutors, they can use the same like phonic kits or like the kindergarten kit. It's for the adult literacy.
So yeah, it looks like in the chat, a lot of you are planning on continuing the kits. Sometimes some of you do them quarterly. You have a lot of patrons asking for them. And then there was another question in the chat. Jennifer from Anderson asked, I'm interested to know how everyone publicizes their programs, especially virtual programs. Nina and Fairfield said they are posting videos to Facebook and YouTube with the advertising for it coming through those sites. They have a slide on the TV in the library, QR codes put up in the library. What are some other ways?
Send flyers to the schools, share with the schools and send flyers there.
Okay, yep, I saw advertising to teachers. Somebody takes quarter page flyers to the community, to the schools.
They use the bookmobile if you have one to when they go rural or to reach to the daycares, etc.
So Jennifer and Anderson has a question about where you put the QR codes up in the community. Does anybody who does that want to, do you want to talk about that? Catherine? Let's see, maybe she'll put in the chat your idea for that. What about, did you have any pleasant surprises this summer? Maybe something you weren't sure if it was going to work or not?
The library, we started adding sign language for the story time. And that was a really pleasant surprise because parents really enjoyed it very much. So, and since the state library has been doing the training, it was really very beneficial.
Yeah. Let's see, in the groups I heard about the backpacks that you can check out with the state. I guess it's the state park pass. Those weren't here when I was in South Carolina last time, so I'm not sure. But I heard that those were really popular. And what else? Some of you talked about one highlight for you was getting really positive feedback from patrons. You found that patrons were really appreciative. Does anybody want to share any stories about that? Or what else went well this summer? I think I heard from some of you that you maybe changed up your registration or reading logs. Anybody want to talk about that?
Say, Pickens County, we did a postcard mailer, but we also had them available at the desk. And basically we combined completion and registration, which made things a lot simpler. And we had, after, I guess the previous summer was really dismal with when COVID hit in March and then everything shut down and we were scrambling. This year we saw a lot of people return. We saw a lot of kids complete, and it worked really well. And the other thing in Pickens County, I'm at the headquarters in Easley. We have 3 smaller branches, one in Pickens, one in Liberty, and one in Central Clemson. And basically we had the branches, anytime they would get a postcard completed in, they would send it here to the headquarters. So we did putting all the information into the computer here. So we had less complaints from our staff at our smaller branches. And it just worked really well, and that we had a lot of people participate.
That's great. Thank you for sharing.
I basically stole a lot of what Pickens was doing, and I don't think they were aware of this, but is Casey still the head librarian there? She had shared y'all's postcard last year, and I thought it was really, really cute. So when we were making reading logs this year, I had saved it from whatever youth services meeting we had, and I made a new one with logos and stuff with a similar format. And we did the same thing where we're like, just send all the stuff back to headquarters, just give it all to youth services, and we will organize all of it. And then we'll have our statistics all in one place, and it will all be really well tabulated. And it did work. It worked so well.
Casey will be in the afternoon session. She's doing story time right now.
Yeah, I love those postcards. And we got them printed with Vistaprint professionally, and it really wasn't that expensive, all things considered, and they were really popular.
That's a good size. I feel like a good size flyer, because I always think when you have something that size, you can hang it up on a fridge really easily. So yeah. So a couple more questions for you to think about. And you just talked about this, but for the rest of you, was there something this summer that went over well that you had never tried before? Ooh, farm program. That sounds awesome. Do you want to tell us more, Catherine, or is there somewhere we can go to? I love horses, so I'm very interested in this horse program. He's got to sit on a horse, meet a couple of horses, and toured the area, read horse themed books. I love that. And Darcy got her dad, who's a veterinarian, to come and talk about his job, I guess, between programs at schools. I feel like being a vet is a very popular job for young people.
Yeah, those programs, just putting veterinarian on there, I was surprised at how quickly people were signing up just from having that. And he did it. He's a natural, just he likes to be up in front of people and talk and put on a show. So he built a model cow, and he demonstrated how a calf is delivered on a model cow. Wow. Yeah, he's a little extra.
That's awesome. I saw that some of you had partnered with the Humane Society or animal shelters. Some of you had therapy dogs. A lot of you had in-person and virtual therapy dog visits. I saw some pictures reading to cats in the shelter. I like that because sometimes cats get left out. As a cat person, I have to say that. The Sheriff's Department bloodhounds, oh, that's cool. Let's see. What about, okay, here's kind of a big question for you all. What did you learn about your community's needs this summer that you didn't know before? Did you learn anything new about their needs? So yeah, the question was, what did you learn about your community's needs that you didn't know before? Now you might have to think about that one for a minute. So Julian Sumter says many parents are homeschooling and the need was there for literacy kits. Updating the parent or caregiver shelf. Yep. Any other success stories we want to share? And then we're going to move on and talk about performers after this. Let's see, Catherine says many parents are struggling with the exhaustion of online schooling and we're excited to have things in person. Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about performers. I know a couple of you started that conversation and I wrote down some names. Anybody you would like to recommend? We also want to hear if there was someone who maybe was difficult to work with. I think that's important information too. So maybe we tried to word it very nicely and say, any tips for working with certain people? Riverbank Zoo, Didgeridoo Down Under, both of those come recommended. Who else? And you can put it in the chat or unmute and tell us if you'd like to.
Hi, it's Stacy from Chapin Library. I was talking in my small group about the Wagsters Magicians. They're a husband and wife team that we've had for several years. And I think they're absolutely fantastic. I was telling my small group, we didn't do anything inside. We wanted to put them outdoors. So in July, doing a magic show outdoors was kind of hard for them and for the audience, but hopefully in the future we won't have to do that. But I'm trying to track down their contact information for my assistant. And I know some people were interested in me emailing it to them, but I think once I get it, I'll just put it in the chat for everybody.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So in the chat, we also have a couple of people talking about Pork Chop Productions. I've seen them several times before. They are really, really great to work with and really nice folks. Black Creek Wildlife Center, Tally Ho Equestrian, like the name of that. So Catawba Nation Outreach was awesome last year. That's cool. Professor Whiz Pop, I haven't heard of him.
Oh, he's awesome.
And what does he do?
Magician.
Okay. Safe Haven Educational Adventures in Greenville. I heard someone mention the Critter Keeper. He's pretty popular, so a lot of you already know about him. Gaston Farm Road Equestrian Center. A lot of horse themed people. Oh yeah, thank you for putting the contact information down for Wagsters.
No problem.
I'm curious to know too, if you get certain requests from patrons for certain performers.
I know that was already mentioned, we get a lot of requests for Pork Chop, but actually people did not like their virtual performance as much as they like it. They do not want us to get that again. We tried that the main COVID summer 2020 summer, but they love them in person. So we're hoping to try to work with them. I think they were having some maybe almost bankruptcy issues, but now I think that we have heard that they're starting back up again. So we hope to get them this summer as well.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Science Tellers, I haven't heard of them before. Copying all of these down. Yeah, no, Pork Chop is really popular, but I haven't seen their virtual show, but I could see how, yeah, that wouldn't be as popular. It's probably a lot harder for them to put that on virtually too.
But really, what is as good as in person? Like, we're not even as good virtual, so.
Nothing. Let's see, Chuck Albertine. It's an animal rehabilitator. Okay, well, were there any certain performers that maybe you would like to offer some tips for working with people, certain people? Any issues that you had?
I don't know if anyone else had these issues, but just pricing, and Casey could speak more to this than I can. I mean, I've kind of heard stuff being in the office, but just trying to figure out contracts of, okay, if we post this on the library's website, you know, how many times can we show it? You know, what's the set price? Whereas it seemed pre-COVID, everything was easier that, okay, we're paying you X number of dollars to perform twice at our headquarters and once at each of our branches. And it's kind of like we can't pay, I don't know, with the performers, them saying, no, we're just paying you to come out once, but they're kind of like, yeah, but you can show it a lot more than if I was there. So just trying to figure all that out. And I think that that's still, you know, hopefully we're going back to in person, but I don't know if anyone else had those same issues of just trying to negotiate a price and like how many times you could show the video.
I agree with you, Tammy. It's Stacy from Chapin Library. And also Catherine said something in the chat as well. Like it got really funny with the virtual and how many times you could show it and locking it. And it started to get confusing. Also, Catherine was saying pricing has gotten ridiculous with performers. And I do agree with that. I think, and I feel bad for them because this was their livelihood and they're suffering as well from not being able to do, you know, their craft. But I will say that I started learning that they're just as desperate for some jobs as well. So I'm a couponer, so try to barter with them and negotiate. And most likely we've even dropped them down $50 to $75 sometimes, even though they try to like highball you a little bit because they're, you know, they're trying to make their money too. But I would definitely say try to work with them and see if you can offer them just a little bit less, and it might work out in your favor.
Yeah, another tip would be, and I know, you know, a lot of you probably already know this, but getting together with other library systems in your area and trying to get a discount by, you know, having them come to 3 or 4 or whatever. Any other information about performers before we move on? All right, well, we'll just move to the next slide. This is, oh, I'm just reading the chat. Yeah. So this is just a quick look at summer 2022. To think about that. So, and I know not all of you use CSLP, but I think most people in the state do. So if you haven't seen this yet, these are the images, some of the images of posters from next year's manual. The author or the artist for next summer is Sophie Blackall. You might remember she won the Caldecott a couple of years ago for Hello Lighthouse. And she also wrote and illustrated the book that came out last year, her most recent book, If You Come to Earth, which is really beautiful. And then she also did Finding Winnie, The Baby Tree, which looks similar to that octopus poster, I feel like. So yeah, the one on the far left is the adult poster, kids in the middle, and that's the Spanish version, early literacy on the right top, and then the teens on the bottom. So CSLP is doing something different this year, and they are having the first annual, I think they're calling it Summer Symposium. And this is open to anyone, so not just youth services managers, anybody that works on summer programming is welcome to attend this free virtual event. It is on December 2nd. And I'll send out this information as well, but let me go ahead and put the link for this. You can go ahead and register if you would like. Let's see. And it's going to be, I think, 11:30 to 4:30. And they'll just have different speakers talking about, I don't remember. It should obviously lots of ideas. People are going to share ideas from the manual, and then tells you exactly what they're talking about on that link if you're curious about that. So that's on December 2nd. We'll have a meeting sometime in January, probably. I don't have a date yet, but we'll have a time for us to get together again and talk about ideas. So I guess it would make sense to meet after this summer symposium. And then what else? Also, if you would like to submit content for the 2023 summer manual, I think I posted a link to that on the listserv, but you can go to CSLP's website too and find out information about that. That closes on October 29th. They have committees you can, and they just ended that, the call for committees, but you don't have to be on a committee to submit ideas for that. And I also posted, they're still looking for help with the Spanish or bilingual programming for kids and teens. So if you would like to help with that, let your supervisor know and ask about that. And what else? I have lots of catalogs to send out. I also have some flash drives and paper copies of annuals. So I only have a couple. Let me know if you want one of these, and it's just first come, first serve, I guess. I'm not really sure how Rebecca did it in the past. And then I have the code that I will put in the chat. I think most of the summer reading coordinators have gotten that code, but let me copy this really quick and put in there. So this is the code. If you go to this CSLP website, you can access the online manual that way. Any questions about that, or any questions about summer reading at all? We just have a couple minutes left.
I received a different code. My code's different.
Let me see. Make sure I got the right one. You know what? You're right. So, the code I just sent you is from Melissa, she works at CSLP. And then I have this code from Tiffany, who works here at the State Library. Let me put this in. So this might be the one that you have. Oh, she put North Carolina. She thought I was in North Carolina. Okay, so yeah.
Okay, yeah, the second one is, yeah.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. So SC22 exclamation point HM11. Okay. So ignore that first one. I mean, you could still get in. I don't think it would matter. But. Any other questions? Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. It was really nice to see your faces and meet a lot of you. I think I'll see a lot of you at the afternoon session if you're able to join us. That's 2 to 4. And you're going to hear Leah talking more about statistics, and Wendy, our grants coordinator, she's going to be talking about that. And then we have some little show and tell slides to share with you. Yeah, so we look forward to seeing you this afternoon. And if not, we will see you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.